Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This will be a review on the new 1/6 scale Hot Toys Star Wars Rogue One Darth Vader figure. Now, at the time of filming this, I haven't actually seen Rogue One yet because it hasn't come out in the cinemas. This figure has come out before the film's release, so I think we're all a little bit curious to see how big a role Vader will play in this new Rogue One film. So time will tell with that one. But it's a really, really impressive looking figure, this one. It's the first Vader I've ever owned. This is a newly designed body apparently by Hot Toys, and the helmet's been redone. I can't find any fault with the helmet. I was a little bit concerned at first about why one of these little bits wasn't as silver as the other one, but after checking loads of footage from A New Hope, it is actually accurate, so that's cool. Although it's weird that they would not do that with the artwork, because you can see they're both silver as buggery there, and even, well, maybe not so much on that one. That one's a bit more like how it actually is. I'll be honest, I put a tiny bit of silver paint on that one just because I got tired of looking at it be so different from the other one, so I just plonked a little bit of silver paint. But it's just acrylic paint that comes off nice and easy. Now, this Darth Vader doesn't actually have the voice sound samples of the breathing and the samples of different bits of dialogue that Vader says from the film. This one just has a light up feature on these two sections of the belt, and apparently not this one. You get enough batteries to put in both of these, two each. These just unhook from the belt, and then you just unscrew the back and put the batteries in. There's a little switch under here, switch it on, and then you're good to go. They are very fiddly. It took me a while to get the batteries in, and getting them back on the belt again, you can see how it's kind of just not quite right there. I've got to go in and fix that later, but I didn't want to spend all night messing around with that, so I've got to film this review. Also, the pleats in his outfit here, on this side I keep having trouble, even when I remove this and then use something really small and thin to kind of smooth out the pleats here. This one always, as you can see, it's just not quite in line, and I can't, it's sort of under the belt here is where it stops, and it just turns into this. So these pleats stop under this belt line, and the way it's sewn, it just doesn't really sit right. And my eye keeps going to it, but it's a minor thing really. But a bit odd how you don't get any light up feature for this one, but you do for these. That looks a bit odd, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to have these on other than when I film this review anyway. That'll probably be the last time I ever switch these on, maybe in the photo shoot for the showcase video possibly. But here's what do you call it, a cod piece. I've seen a few people on the forum saying about how it's much bigger on this version than it was on the New Hope. I don't know why. Maybe that's accurate, maybe it isn't. We haven't seen the film yet, so we'll see how that looks. Not that I'm going to be spinning the film looking forward to seeing Vader's crotch, but there's the base. It's nice that the base just says Star Wars Darth Vader, as I said in the unboxing, just in case Rogue One the movie doesn't turn out to be that great. You can just display this as just a general, a generic Darth Vader from the Star Wars movies. Now obviously with this version, I think in A New Hope, these pleats are actually overlapping this part of the armor. I'm not an expert on Vader, but that's just something I've heard people talking about a lot. And in this one, they are underneath, as they were in, I believe, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So that's interesting. But yeah, his cod piece is quite large, and now that I've heard about that, it's another thing that my eye tends to sort of go to. As odd as that sounds, it is rather large. Just to mention some things about the outfit, the materials used for the cape and this section here with the pleats is really, really nice material. It feels very expensive, and they obviously put a great deal of thought into it. I don't know how this material compares to A New Hope version that Hot Toys released a little while back, because I've never actually seen that one in hand, or in person should I say. But it is the kind of material, as nice as it is, a very nice kind of silky look on the inside, and not so much on the outside, but it is that very catch in your finger, in your skin, if you have any rough skin at all, as us working folk tend to do. The material does catch in your skin a lot, and you can see it kind of getting stuck every now and then, and it just has that feel when you're trying to mess around with it. And there is no wire anywhere in the outfit that I can see, and I do find trying to get the pleats to fall naturally and have look like they have weight to them doesn't really seem to be possible. They do just tend to see, look, I'm sort of pulling it down flush, and then I let go, and it just tends to sort of curl out at the ends. You can really futz with that and just keep messing around, and I'm sure you'll be able to get it looking better. But because of the lack of any wires, it's very light, very nice material. Does catch in your skin a fair bit. If any of you guys are familiar with Tony May's capes, it's the exact same kind of feel for like the Man of Steel cape. Obviously this is a bit thicker, it's 2-ply, it's got like 2 layers to it sewn together. So it has a nice weight, the cape at least, but it is very catchy in the skin. And when you're handling it, you are aware of that, and it does make you kind of nervous because you don't want any threads to appear. Okay, so just be clear about that. Catches in the skin, nice material, but there is no wire to help you pose this. I'm sure some of you will be happy about that, and maybe some of you won't be, but that's the situation. One thing I'm not overly keen on is this chain that goes around the neck here. You won't see it most of the time because it just kind of rides up underneath the helmet, and if you have him looking sort of regular, it kind of disappears into the recess there. But they could have made that a metal chain. That would have really helped with the realism, but it's just pretty cheap looking, to be honest. So the chain there kind of lets the figure down a little bit. It's kind of soft, rubbery, kind of plastic, I guess. Can't really get to it because it's kind of, like I say, embedded in there, but you won't really see it most of the time, especially if you have his head down like that. It just disappears. So I'm not too impressed with the chain. This shoulder armor kind of sits flush. That's one of the things I heard or read on the forums. Someone was asking about that. Now obviously his arm is pretty much down as flat to his side as it will go, and there is a little bit of lift there still. That's kind of where you'd want it to be, but it does lift up about that much. It's not a big deal, but just to let you know. Okay, so remember what I was telling you about how the pleat wasn't really matching up? Turns out it wasn't down here that was the problem, it was actually up here. Now I've pulled off the head. The armor is attached to this, it seems, and that is as much as I could lift that off. So I just kind of lifted this up, and then I actually used the lightsaber and just poked it up there and nudged the pleat around a little bit until it sort of smoothed out and became nice and flush. So that's what I had to do with that. But yeah, let's just see if I can show you anything here, just in case you're curious. This is the first time I'm really seeing this, but that is as much as I can really lift that up. So you can lift it up a bit if you need to tweak things. I'll just see what's going on under here. Yeah. But at least that's fixed now, because that was really bugging me. Also, just to let you know, there doesn't seem to be anywhere where the belt comes apart, in case you're wondering about taking it off. I didn't see, especially when I removed these, unless it's underneath this bit, I couldn't find any section where the belt seemed to undo and you could remove it. So that doesn't seem to be possible, but you can always look into that further yourself. Also, the materials used for Vader's outfit is pretty much a dust magnet. Not these bits, obviously, just these, the pleats and the cape itself is tend to be getting quite dusty quite quickly. So I'll have to stay on the case with Vader, keep him clean. Seeing as I have the cape off and I was just doing a bit of a tweak with the outfit, you might as well get a good look at the proportions there. Seems to be pretty well proportioned to my eye. Also, seeing as I have the cape off, let's just get a look at that chain. It's not even painted silver. That's just plastic. There's a nice kind of leathery effect around the top there, but that chain needs some silver paint applied to it. At least I think it does. Am I wrong about that? Is Vader's chain meant to be silver, like a kind of metal at least? I don't think it's black. I don't know. Maybe it varies from film to film. Now these 1/6 scale figures, they are expensive. We do tend to really go in depth and analyze every little inch of them, making sure that we get, bang for our buck and movie accuracy and all that kind of stuff. But I was born in 1980, and this was my Darth Vader when I was a kid. I think it was by Kenner. It's the original Vader. He's old as hell, and as you can see, there might have been other versions of Vader to collect when I was a little kid when this came out. bigger ones, more detail maybe, but you know, I don't think they would have been much more detailed than this. And now, as a grown-up, all those years later, I get something like this, which is basically Darth Vader shrunk down to 1/6 scale. So all the little nitpicks, talking about the cod piece, maybe talking about how some parts light up and other parts don't, accuracy of the mask, the helmet, whatever you want to call it, we certainly have come a long way since the days of old. Look at the state of that. Now this is an option you get for the base, and thank you to the guys who let me know in the comments for the unboxing that this is actually a sticker. You can peel it off and then really stick it down to the base, and I guess that would pretty much make that a permanent look. So I don't want to do that. I would prefer just a kind of black base like this, but that is the situation. Apparently this peels off and it becomes a sticker, and then you put it down on top of there. You can see the little hole where the base stand goes through. This comes away as well, in case you just want to display it like that, then just slots back in there again. The actual stand on mine, that's not doing it now, but it's actually really easy for that to just come out when I'm moving him around or adjusting him. I always find that this is like that, and then I have to push it back down again. Just a little thing, but the surface of the base doesn't seem to be scratching like some of the other ones that are out there, like this base for Robocop by Hot Toys, very easy to scratch, and some of the Terminator figures that they've done, and I believe some of the other Star Wars figures as well. I think the Kylo Ren base is one of those very easy to scratch types as well, but this one is different, not too bad at all. So yeah, that's an option. Just peel that off, it becomes a sticker, and you put it down on there, but I don't think I'll be doing that. Now, something I mentioned in the unboxing that I wasn't happy about, but there is an easy way around this. See how the wrist peg is buried deep in the actual glove there? Not very easy to get that out again. But unless you're actually having him with his arm right down by his side, you can literally, there's no wrist peg here. I haven't got a wrist peg in. I've literally, because his arm's raised, you just push it on there, and it ain't going anywhere, you know? You don't even need to have the wrist peg on there. So you can do lightsaber poses or different hand gestures, and I wouldn't even bother with the wrist peg, to be honest, because that's not going to come off easy. You can push it on further, and it's really on there now. So the wrist peg thing, not really a big deal. As long as his arm is going to be slightly raised, gravity will take care of the rest. Okay, so we'll have a look at the different hands that he comes with. Obviously the one he's rocking right now is the pointing finger, and there's a relaxed hand there just by the side of his lightsaber, just in case it kicks off. You have this cool force push hand, very nice sculpt on that, and very subtle, but you can tell exactly what that's for. Get away from me. And then you have this more aggressive kind of position, like a clutching, possibly doing the strangle thing, or just lifting someone with the force. So that is a cool hand. Sorry, I'm not getting much focus happening there for you. There you go. And we have fists, which is slightly turned up, so that he's like that one there, very much when he's saying, you know, if you only knew the power of the force and all that stuff, or the dark side. And you've got a lightsaber holding hand. You will also get one for the right hand side as well, so he can hold the lightsaber in both hands. Here we have the other relaxed hand, and one more kind of using the force type hand situation. Now let me just line all these up so that you can get a good look. He comes with the wrist pegs that are on him, plus 2 spare ones in a bag. And there are all your hands, apart from the 2 that are on him right now. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hands. So I now have Vader displayed holding the lightsaber with both hands ready for action, and it is something I mentioned in the unboxing video, and it's something I still feel now. The lightsaber blade itself is just not very impressive. It's not even really red. It's just a very weak, transparent looking piece of plastic, and it does not do the job for me at all. There is no light up feature with this lightsaber on this particular Vader figure, It's literally just how you see it. As I'm moving around it, the light's kind of catching it, and see there, that does look quite nice, but that's not how it looks most of the time. It does have a very kind of weak, kind of pointless look to it. I doubt very much that I would be displaying the figure with this lightsaber drawn in this way. I might bother looking into a custom one at some point, but I'm quite happy to have this Vader just displayed with the lightsaber on his belt, undrawn, just kind of standing there looking like a badass. But yeah, I'm not too keen on the lightsaber blade itself. The hilt, however, that he holds in his hands is very well detailed. I'll get you a better look at that in a minute. But yeah, just to confirm, the actual lightsaber blade is really quite unimpressive. And I think they could have done that much better. There are types of plastic out there that they could have used that have a nice vibrant red to them that would have kind of given the look of it being on, and you would never have to worry about a light up feature. With the A New Hope version of Vader that Hot Toys released, I think the arm was part of the whole setup, where I think possibly the batteries went into the arm, something like that. Could be wrong, never seen the A New Hope version in person, but that's just something I remember seeing in some of the reviews. So I'm not bothered about the lack of a light up feature with this lightsaber. If it meant having something to do with the arm every time you want to turn it on, I'd rather not. But I definitely think they could have gone with a better type of plastic to give the impression that it was on. Now, I did promise you a good look at the lightsaber hilt. Pretty good detail on there, so you can just get a look. Looks pretty good. All the little sections seem to be present and correct. And underneath there, little gold section. I'm no expert, so I couldn't tell you if it's exactly accurate, but it certainly looks very well detailed and very well painted. Little hook on the end there for it to attach to his belt. So there's your lightsaber. I'm just rocking that force shove hand with the lightsaber in the other, just to put a bit of variation in there, that you see how that looks. Got a bit of a turn in his waist, that works quite well. So his legs are facing off to that way. I've got him turning there, so you got some good articulation. The arms are really well articulated. There seems to be a double elbow joint in there, so you can get it really tight. Let me see, I've got the lightsaber in the way here. Just try and give you a little demonstration, see how close we can get that. Yeah, it's pretty much a double elbow, but the thick kind of costume there might hinder that a little bit. You can definitely just kind of go, ollie, 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 oh, who did a stinky? I wish it was possible for me to bring you guys a full comparison between this Rogue One Vader and the one Hot Toys released from A New Hope quite a little while ago now. There is a really good comparison between the Sideshow Vader and the Hot Toys one by Cool Collectibles on YouTube. He's a good dude, and I do remember seeing in that comparison that the Sideshow Vader helmet and the Hot Toys one were quite different in shape and proportions. Hot Toys definitely seem to have done a more accurate job with the helmet on that one. Now, as far as the comparison between this helmet from Rogue One and A New Hope version that Hot Toys released not too long ago, you'd have to wait for someone else to bring you that one. All I will tell you is I think this looks fantastic. It has the slightly red lenses in the helmet, just like it in the movie. And obviously the proportions seem really good to me. Just a shame about the cheap chain that they went with, or the lack of a chain. It's just plastic, but it's not that much of a biggie. I suppose I can always paint that myself. I've just got him with the fist, kind of basically just copying that pose there. But yeah, I wish I could bring you a full comparison, but unfortunately guys, this is the only Vader I have. I'm very happy with it though. I'm glad I went for this one. Let Hot Toys make any little improvements that they needed to make from the last one. Proportions, everything seems really good on this. It's very lifelike again. Any figure that doesn't have any human features showing, like a face, if they do the outfit and the costume, if they get that all right, then you've basically got yourself a shrunk down character from the film, leaping out of the screen at you, telling you that if you only knew the power of the Force. Look at him. Now the cape is very nice. As I say, the material they've used seems very high quality, has a really nice weight to it, catches in your skin like crazy. I hate touching it, but it is very well done, and I wish Hot Toys would put this much love into their Batman figure capes, because this is a very sort of standout example of when they get something right. and the cape is just lovely. So you can look forward to feeling that for yourself when you get it. I don't know if this is the same material that they used for A New Hope Vader, but this is a bit of a dust magnet, I'll be honest. The sort of material sections of his outfit do tend to collect dust quite easily, but it's a lovely material and it looks great draped like that. Look at that, lovely. The way they've done the boots and the shin guard, or the whole sort of lower leg guard, is very well done. There's some great articulation. You've got pivot and movement in the ankles, and you've got these kind of leather straps that go around here, very shiny, and then you've got the sort of regular outfit underneath. Everything feels really high quality, and articulation doesn't seem to suffer too much at all. I've been able to get some pretty natural looking stances out of him. So yeah, outfit I would have to give top marks to. It's just been really well done, and they've seemed to have learnt from any little mistakes they've made in the past when it comes to Vader. I do highly recommend this one. Even if you do have A New Hope Vader, it might be worth picking this one up if you can, and then see them both together and make your decision which one you want to keep. But I have a feeling, and see, I can't say because I don't have the other one, but it's just a gut feeling that this one is slightly on top. So, I don't know. I'm glad I have it though. It's very impressive, and I think I'll be tweaking the pose and going back to this one just like I was with the Batman vs Superman Batman figure. That's one that I just keep going back to because it's a lot of fun to work with. This guy certainly impresses in person. He's very, very large. He's bigger than like Robocop standing beside him. Even on his base, he's dwarfed by Vader. Let's get a nice good look at this detail on the helmet. Now, as I mentioned, they did make the eye visors slightly red, which apparently is movie accurate. The grille is very well detailed. Just get in there and let you see. Now, on A New Hope version, which is movie accurate, there's this kind of scratch effect on that silver section there. On this one, there is no scratch effect, so I guess Hot Toys have studied the artwork or the screen caps or whatever it is that they get as a reference to work from to make the figures very movie accurate. Maybe in Rogue One that is how it appears in the film. Only time will tell. The film hasn't come out yet, but really, really well done. I love the proportions. See, when I think of Vader, it tends to be when he was slightly looking up like that, and that's the kind of effect you would get with the helmet at the back. You wouldn't really see any gap between the shoulders and the helmet because that's how it would look. I think they've done a great job. Looks bang on to me. Really, really impressed. And just see it from the side. Again, the proportions, everything seems really well done and very movie accurate to me. He looks pretty good with his cape just kind of draped over him like that. Very sort of Batman Begins kind of look that I tend to go for with the Batman figures. But the cape hangs so well and is designed in a way that it allows for this kind of thing to look quite natural. So that is a look that I might rock from time to time. Simple but effective. Now I have swapped around the, or at least turned around the backdrop there so that you can see the very much Rogue One-esque image of the Death Star there. So on the other side you've got what you saw before, which is more of a kind of generic original Star Wars trilogy sort of look for the Death Star, or wherever the hell it was Vader spent the majority of his time, and this is more of a Rogue One look behind him. Now these stormtroopers are pretty much 1/6 scale. They're not on a base, so they are appearing very small compared to Vader. But I guess if they were on Vader's base, they would come up to about there, which seems kind of accurate because Vader is a very big guy. But these Hasbro stormtroopers, I found them in my local Asda supermarket, and it was about 2 days before Vader arrived, and I thought to myself, I kept debating in my head for the sort of like a whole day. I was like, should I get them? They're about £30 each, so I ended up spending £60 to get two kind of background pieces for Vader. I'm very glad I did because they are really well done. There's a good weight to these, They actually all talk and say stuff.
Ready for action.
A whole bunch of other things. There's a video. Yeah, all right. they do tend to just keep talking if you do switch them on. They're quite funny, actually. You should check out the review that I did on these, because towards the end of the video it goes completely haywire and they take on a life of their own and take over the review. It's all quite amusing. But yeah, back to Vader. This is the only 1/6 scale Vader figure I have ever owned, and it's pretty much the only one I'd ever need. I can't really compare it to the other ones, like I said, because this is the only one I have, but I would go on my instincts and say this is probably Hot Toys' best Vader to date. It is worth mentioning, if you haven't seen the unboxing, when I talked about the difference in the hands. With this Vader it's all hard plastic, but with the A New Hope version, this was all kind of like a fake leather, sort of like this, with a little flap that would velcro to the plastic hands. I would go on YouTube and check out some reviews for A New Hope Vader by Hot Toys if you want to see more of that in detail. But I do prefer these hard plastic all-in-one versions. And like I said, the whole issue with the wrist peg thing, as long as his hand is up, you don't really even need to use a wrist peg. They just go on there quite nicely. I haven't put him in too many extreme poses in this review. I just wanted to really go into sort of detail on the outfit and stuff like that. I'll do some poses and bring them to you in the showcase video for this guy coming up in the next couple of days. But I would highly recommend him. I do think he's an absolutely fantastic representation of Vader, the only one you'd ever really need. Proportions, quality of the outfit, everything seems to be really, really top quality, really well done. I hope you enjoyed the review, guys, and let me know if you did. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you with more videos soon. Thanks again to Anthony Tsang for getting me this figure as quickly as he did. Excellent guy, excellent figure, and I'm very happy to own it. Just pan back and let you see the full awesomeness in effect. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back with you soon.